Welcome to Africa Insight. In this week's video, I'm joined by my colleague Shani Smit-Lengton, who is the senior economist for Kenya. We're going to be talking about some interesting developments around Kenya's ratings. So Shani, recently Moody's upgraded Kenya's rating. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, that's correct, and thank you for having me.
Sure.
So Moody's recently upgraded Kenya's credit rating from Caa1 to B3, and this was because of an improved liquidity position as well as a reduction in its risk of default. So to put some figures to that, gross foreign reserves rose to $12.2 billion at the end of December.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's quite a bit, and this equates to around 5 months of import cover. On top of that, the current account deficit narrowed from 5.2% in 2021 to 1.3% of GDP in 2024.
Yep.
So that's quite a marked improvement. And this was because of a significant increase in export revenue, a rise in remittances, as well as a larger services account surplus. But not everything is hunky-dory in Kenya.
Yep.
Moody's did warn or caution that Kenya's debt affordability remains weak and that their fiscal consolidation efforts are limited.
Okay.
This is actually Kenya's biggest downfall at the moment.
Sure.
And then just to comment as well on the current account deficit improvement, I think it's important to highlight that this was more of a mechanical change than an actual improvement on the ground.
Yes.
Because the Kenyan government decided to include oil re-exports as part of its total exports, which inflates the value of it.
Okay. That's interesting. I know we spoke about re-exports a while ago and with Tanzania, but anyways, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
Talking about Moody's, then they upgraded, but then the other one, can you remind us? Fitch, yes. They held, yes.
Yes,
Tell
so
us about
Fitch
that.
held. They held their credit rating at B- with a stable outlook. And like Moody's, Fitch also recognized that the country's gross foreign reserves have improved, and they acknowledge that their economy has been resilient. But Fitch is more cautious about the country's fiscal pressures as well as its external financing needs. So Fitch wants to see better fiscal consolidation and stronger debt management from Kenya before it will reconsider its outlook and upgrade the rating.
Okay, that's interesting. Before we pivot to, I have a more general question, but is it S&P, will they have their review now this month? Do you have any expectations or do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, so S&P will be reviewing Kenya on the 12th of February, and I think they will hold, so keep the status quo.
All right, okay, cool. Then Ashant, so in our joint coverage, we always focus on politics, economics. Big thing for me politically is the elections, which we think in 2027, we think Ruto is going to win. But usually when politicians start, electioneering, they promise a whole bunch of things around the economy. Can you just then tell us how Kenya's economy is doing, some macroeconomic outlook, and what do you think, where the picture is and that kind of thing?
So the Kenyan economy is actually really resilient at the moment, but we still think that it's below its true potential.
Yeah.
So we currently forecast GDP growth at 4.6% for this year, which is below consensus of 5%. The main drawback of growth this year is the agricultural sector. We anticipate that La Nina will have a knock-on effect since La Nina does bring about dry weather conditions and Kenya is particularly susceptible to drought conditions.
Yes.
So this will, like I mentioned, negatively impact the agricultural sector, which will have a ripple impact on agro-processing, export revenue, as well as consumer demand from food price inflation. I think another constraint will be the government's tight fiscal position, so we can see a reduction in spending allocated towards development projects and public services.
Yeah.
But there are some upside risks. We will consider revising our outlook higher if the private sector is able to maintain its strong momentum that we saw at the end of last year into this year, and if the private sector is able to also fill some of the gaps left by the government, so public sector. And I'd also say if Kenya makes good progress in its trade negotiations.
Yes,
and
the US, big one,
Yes, the US and China. And then if La Nina proves to be more mild, I think those are all upside risks for Kenya at the moment.
Very good. Thanks, Shant. I think that's it at that. Thank you for joining Africa Insight this week. If you'd like more information on our products or services, please visit our website or socials.